Booktube. I'm back. It's been quite a while since I've filmed any videos or thought about making videos. Before I get into the book haul, I thought I would of course explain where I've been and what I've been doing. My summer started off kind of rough, and when I stopped making videos, it wasn't exactly a planned decision. A lot of things just kind of hit the fan at once, and it just like I couldn't focus on making videos. But so what started off my summer was this little hairy beast right beside me, my dog Tucker. He started having lots of complications with his eating and going to the bathroom, and so I'm not going to get into those gritty details, but it was a good long 2 or 3 months of figuring out what was going on with him, and we made lots of trips to the vet and lots of like trial and error with his dog food and his eating to get him back on track. He's almost 13, so I mean, and up until this point he hasn't been ill, and so it just threw us for a loop. And then during his illness, my cat Winnie, which was like the star of the show here, she started hiding, and at first I thought it was because along with my dog being sick, he made a bunch of messes in the house on almost a daily basis, and so I thought at first she was hiding to get away from the stinky smells or something like that. But it became very noticeable because she was always right by my side, and so when a cat's hiding, that often means something is wrong. And so we took her to the vet along with taking my dog on his like weekly visits, and come to find out that she had heart disease, and she was anemic, and she had it's all like 3 different things at once. She was anemic, she had heart disease, and they found a spot on her stomach, like a lump on her stomach. And so all 3 of those, it made the decision easy. I don't know, to put her down, because they were saying like how if I wanted to remove the lump on her stomach, or figure what that is it cancerous or is it non-cancerous, her heart couldn't handle the surgery. But in order to, and then also the anemia, so it was just like, and if you fix the anemia, give her like a blood transfusion, her heart couldn't take that because her heart was already struggling. And so yeah, it was a really rough time, and like she was my reading buddy, and that's probably not the main reason I stopped making videos, but that was a huge component of it, because she was like the little co-star, and it was a really rough time to lose my precious sweet cat. And so yeah, and then but it's weird, like luckily my dog got better, and like it was with all of his stomach issues, if someone was going to tell me which one of them had a stomach tumor, I would have said my dog. I would not have said Winnie. Like she was like very awake and present all the way to the end, which the vector thing was really surprising, because her red blood cell count was very low, and said normally a cat with that level of that blood count would be like in a coma. But she was still awake, and she was still aware. Like she would still run to her cat food and her little canned food that she loves so much. So yeah. Anyway, I'm very thankful that I had her for the 12 years that I did. She was almost 12, and so yeah. So it's been enough time that's passed, so I can focus more on the positives than be so depressed. But there's still days, especially like Halloween. Like it's Halloween today, and I have my shirt with lots of black cats and bats and everything on it. So this whole month I've seen all these like beautiful black cat figurines and stickers and everything. So it's just it is her birthday month as well. So I think from now on I'm going to be a huge champion of, like I always were before, but it's always going to remind me of Winnie, but in a good way. And outside of my pets being sick, I also made a big move. I moved across the country again, but this is for the last time. I swear I can't do this again. I can't move again. Oh, it's so hard, and especially with the pandemic. But I moved from North Carolina to the Portland area in Oregon. It's really nice and pretty here. And I've never lived in the Pacific Northwest. I was in California before, but I've read about how it's just like a gloomy, dark winter here, and I haven't experienced that yet. It's like bright sunny today, but we'll see how I can tough it out in the coming months. So yeah, there was that as well, and I've been here like a little bit over 2 weeks now, and that was interesting because during a pandemic, and up to that point, like, we have been staying, inside, and not doing anything that wasn't necessary to go out. And so it was interesting to see, going across the country, the different states, their protocols. Like, we just went to the gas stations. We didn't interact with any other people, really, because we decided to camp along the way, just to avoid going in hotels and, like, everyone, staying over there, with the truck stops and all of that. Like, we just wanted to avoid and be as cautious and safe as much as possible. So I just saw people at the gas stations, and we also, like, packed our food, so we, like, breakfast, lunch, dinner was all, like, as much as we can, like, ourselves, so we didn't have to interact with that as well. But it was really scary, to be honest. Like, in some states where at least some stops where even the gas station attendants, they weren't even wearing masks. They didn't have that fiberglass anything. It was bizarre to see that, because in North Carolina and here in Oregon, like, there's, like, measures in place. You wear your mask and you keep your distance, and there's often, like, masks and plexiglass for the cashiers. So yeah, that was very interesting. And so yeah, that's where I've been, and that's what I've been up to. Me myself personally, I've stayed healthy, and I have nothing going wrong with me. It's just everyone else that's this throwing me for a loop with everything. But so yeah, I thought I would do a book haul. Being in the Portland area, I of course had to make a trip to Powell's, not the big location. I haven't been there yet, but one, like, closer to me. And so I thought, cheer myself up and get to know the area a bit through books, because I have been reading through this whole time, and I was participating in the different Booktube events, like Victober, that just happened recently, and the ShakeTube, reading Shakespeare in September, and I do plan on participating in Nonfiction November, but with videos as well, instead of just just me doing it on my own time. I want to, like, share what I'm reading, because I really wanted to make videos for Victober, and how, like, reading, like, classics and thrillers and mysteries and horror all throughout this month. But I just knew with moving and everything that when I came back, I wanted to be consistent with making videos, not just like one and then at the beginning of the month, and then moving and all of that, and then making a video, now at the very last day of the month. So I thought, now is a good time to come back, to be consistent, and of course, Nonfiction November is probably my favorite Booktube event throughout the year, because I love nonfiction books. And so a lot of the books I found were nonfiction. And honestly, like, when I go to a bookstore, if I'm going to buy a book to own and keep a long time, it's often going to be nonfiction, because, like, I don't know what it is, but with fiction, it can come and go. But, like, often my favorite books are the nonfiction, so those, like, my favorite books are what I want to keep. Is basically what I'm trying to say. But I'm going to start off with a fiction book, and this is Lila by Marilyn Robinson. I've only read Gilead, but I know there's Lila and Home, I think is the third one. And so yeah, this is a pretty cover. I saw recently they had this really pretty, like, I think it's like a watercolor painting. I didn't see those. I would like those for this trilogy. Or is there a fourth one? Like, Jack? Is that part of this trilogy? I don't know. But I'm going to read this one in and move on with her books, because, like, yeah, she's a fantastic author. And I don't think she needs any introduction by me. And then switching gears a bit is these, I don't know, Little House on the Prairie compendium books about Laura's mother, Caroline. And so this is Little House in Brookfield, and this is when Caroline was young. And then this is the last book in that series, A Little House of Their Own, and this is when Caroline and Charles get together. And so I've never read these, and Little House on the Prairie was, like, one of my favorite series as a kid. And so I saw these, and okay, let me read these and see how these go. And then, along with that, is West from Home, Letters of Laura Ingalls Wilder, San Francisco, 1915. And this is her time. She went to visit her daughter, Rose, who was living in San Francisco. And so I think this is considered kind of like the last, oh, I can't see my hand here, the last book in her series. It's not really good, but it's like, it's like tacked on. I think it's like the 8th or 9th book in the Little House on the Prairie series. So this will be the last one that I'll need to read for that one. And then a nonfiction book is The South House Frontier by Everett Dick. It says 100 years ago, the Great Prairie region, now comprising the states of Kansas, Nebraska, and North and South Dakota, was regarded as unfit for human habitation. And this is going from 1854 to 1890. And so I thought this would be a nice way of reading more about the frontier life and the pioneer days of breaking ground and building like the soddy houses and things like that. So yeah, I really like this this time period, and it was interesting to drive through like the Nebraska, Kansas area. I just made my way through there, and like I mentioned, we were camping, and so when we stopped in Nebraska, right near like the Lincoln, Omaha area on the eastern side of Nebraska, and we were camping, like we were facing this like huge field of corn, and there was a thunderstorm coming in. So me and my dog and my boyfriend were all like leaning against the fence, watching this lightning storm that was happening way out. It looked like miles and miles away, and we were just watching the lightning, coming down, and then and it was like calm, and there was no rain or wind, anything where we were at. And we're just watching it, just taking it in. And then all of a sudden, the wind and the dust just comes crashing in on us. And we ran back to our campsite because the dust was everywhere. So I can just it really brought to home how quick and I just can't imagine living in that area during the tornado season. That was just out of the blue, these things pop up. So it really made me be able to picture living like that. So yeah, that was interesting and a very memorable part of the drive. And then keeping on with the nonfiction is Wallace Stegner's Where the Bluebird Sings to the Lemonade Springs, and Living and Writing in the West. And he is one of my favorite fiction authors. I've read several of his, what is it, Crossing to Safety, and his famous one. It's completely blanking. I don't know why. I'll have to look it up if this book says it. Angle and Repose. Is that what it is? Oh my gosh. Yes, those two are some of my favorite books by him. And so this is his collection of nonfiction writing on his love of the West. And so yeah, I thought I would pick that up and see what that's about. And then moving to Alaska, this is Moonlight at Midday by Sally Carriger. And it says Alaska in animals, ghosts, and people, Eskimos and white settlers, its wildlife and villages and cities. A few outsiders ever see it. And so she is one of my favorite nonfiction writers. And whenever I go to a bookstore, I always see if I can find any more of her writings. And I haven't read this one yet. And she often, each chapter focuses on a different animal in one specific location and how they interact with the other animals in the previous and coming chapters. And so yeah, I'm greatly looking forward to this one. And then keeping with the Alaska theme is One Man's Wilderness, an Alaskan Odyssey. And this is journals and photographs of his time there. I think it's during it's in the 1970s, I believe. So yeah, this looks good. And there's let's see if I can show you some of the pictures here of his time there. And I have a friend that lives in Alaska, and I keep saying, there's gonna be some time, well, I'm losing the light here, sometime where I'm gonna make my way up there, especially I'm closer now, I'm in Oregon, so it's not that far away, and visit him once the pandemic's over and everything settles down, and make a trip to there. And so then I also have A Naturalist in Alaska by Adolph Murray, and the foreword is by Olaf Murray. And ever since I read Two in the North, or Two in the Far North by Margaret Murray, the wife of Olaf, I have been enamored with anything by the Murrays. They're all the Olaf and Adolf were brothers living, they grew up in Minnesota. And they went to school and became biologists, and they both were exploring, I think predominantly Wyoming, and for sure especially Alaska. And they, through their lifetime, they were able to put a lot of effort and attention into saving a lot of the Alaskan nature areas and preserve it. And so this is Adolph Murray, and he also taught at I think the school in Anchorage. He was a professor there as well. But yeah, so anyway, this book is featuring his time in the night, especially in the 1930s and 40s, what was going on there, and each chapter was about each chunk was about like wolves or moose, grizzly bears, and so on. So yeah, this was nice to read. But if you're interested in the Murrays, I highly recommend Two in the North, Two in the Far North by Margaret Murray. That one was fantastic. That was more of like a biography of their life, but it talks a lot about the nature. But this is for sure mostly nature writing. And this is one of the books of this whole group that I've actually read since picking it up. And this is The Grizzlies of Mount McKinley by Adolph Murray. This is featuring it's just talking about his experience with the grizzly bears. Let's fix on some pictures. Here's some. They're in black and white. You can kind of see with this weird light. But I forgot to mention, in this book, the forward is by Olaf, his brother, but also all the drawings in here are by his brother as well. And in Two in the Far North, Margaret mentions like during their different excursions how she's sitting with their babies, or she's collecting berries while he is busy painting or drawing what he saw, or different specimens that he's collected during that day. And then shifting gears a little bit more is One Art by Elizabeth Bishop, and this is letters, collection of her letters. And this brought to my attention by Steve Donahue. He was talking, I think one of the tag videos or something was like one of the best collections of letters that he's read. And I read a couple of her poems, but I for sure want to read a lot more before I get into this one. But this is I think spanning almost her entire life. It's it's over 50 years, from 1928, when she was 17, to the day of her death in 1979. And so this sounds fascinating, and it's something I for sure, if I can squeeze in some poetry in Nonfiction November, then I will tackle this book in November as well. And then I have The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt by Edmund Morris, and I've read one or two of his books, but this is one that's been on my radar for quite a bit. It's a winner of the Pulitzer Prize, and Teddy Roosevelt is always such a a fun character in a way to read about. An interesting guy. He was into everything, and so I can never get enough biographies of him. And I read quite a few. Not a ton, but so yeah, it's never a boring topic to read about. Let's see. It says it's a story of 7 men. And it's all about one person. But yeah, it's a naturalist, a writer, a lover, a hunter, ranchman, soldier, and politician who merged at age 42 to become the youngest president in history. 21 years ago. Okay, it's like 21 years ago is when this was written. So yeah, this will be interesting. And then going to the Civil War, Bruce Catton. I saw one of his books in Powell's, and so I had to pick it up. I've read both of his trilogies, and I've read a couple of his standalone books, but this is his kind of survey of the whole entire war, and so I've read a couple of those, but I want to of course read Bruce Catton's version of that, because he could do no wrong in my book. I love his writing. And then pairing with that is Battle Cry of Freedom, the Civil War Era by James N. McPherson. And this book I've seen everywhere. I've heard about it. I feel like if you talk about the Civil War, people are going to recommend this book. And I've read many, many Civil War books, but I have never read this one. So I'm pretty sure I've checked it out from the library at least 1 or 2 times. And so I was like, I need my own copy to push me to read this. So yes, it's gonna sit there and stare at me, and I'm gonna read it and get it done. So yes, so I can form my own opinion, and I'm sure I'm gonna love it. But yeah, this also won the Pulitzer Prize. So yeah, those are the books, and that's what I've been up to. I'm so glad to be back on Booktube. I watched Booktube sporadically, but I never made a concentrated effort to watch a lot of videos or comment, and so I for sure want to get back into the conversation with what everyone's reading and what they're up to, and of course responding to your comments as well. So yes, thanks. Talk to you soon, Booktube.